Welcome back to Studio 11. So because I am building this channel around my intent to make a living doing my art, I thought I should be pretty straightforward from the beginning about things that I've tried and have failed pretty badly at. I failed at Merch by Amazon, I failed at Amazon KDP, I failed at Michael's handmade maker place, I've failed at graphic design, doing graphic design as a profession. So those are just a few that come right off the top of my head. But I don't believe that just because I failed at those, I can't do art in some capacity, like in the form of graphic design, digital art, handmade. I just believe that those weren't the right fit for me at that time. And I believe in myself and I believe in building this YouTube channel, so I want to demonstrate that by showing a sign of good faith. I've decided right off the bat to do the scary thing, invest in a new camera, which I went with this Google, this is what it's called, but I mean, I love Mint Mobile, and I just decided that having a really good camera right off the bat would be a smart thing to do, because it's also something that I can use every day in my business. And then I have the nicest microphone I've had to date, which it's actually almost a little bit too good in the sense that it picks up like my stomach growling and my throat making noises. But the point is, it's better than what I've had before, which will allow me to make better videos. So I'm sort of investing this up front, and it's my way of saying I believe in myself. I believe that I can do this. I believe that anything is possible, but I have to push past my fears of like, oh, this isn't the right time, or to push past those negative thoughts that like, this isn't going to work. It's like, no, I believe in myself, I believe what I'm doing, and let's just get started. So today I want to work on appliqués or patches, however you want to describe them. I view them more as patches, but they may be a little mesh in between. So this is a way that you're able to salvage a lot of these cool sort of elements that, like, I go to a lot of estate sales and I find all sorts of items that are damaged beyond the point of repair, like the body of the garment, but it has these really cool like embroidery or details that I want to salvage and are of good quality. And so I'm going to demonstrate several today and then show you examples at the end of ones that I've completed, just to sort of get some ideas churning or inspiration of how, when you're out, if you see something, and maybe don't discard its potential just because it has a stain on like the main portion, but if it has really interesting details, I just want to demonstrate the potential that some of these pieces have. So we're going to start with this robe. I found this vintage robe at an estate sale, and these really jumped out to me, these fuzzy like embellishments. The robe itself is it's just done, it's used up, it's really worn. Especially you can see it on the inside there. But these survived. They look great. Yes, that one has a little stain, but I want to save these. I want to reuse these. I think for a lot of people, the hardest part is cutting into the item, which is why I find it easiest to start with things that are already damaged. And of course, if I come across pieces that aren't damaged and I want to rework them, I'm to the point now where I'm okay with it. But I do tend to pick pieces that are already damaged because they have less of a chance of making it out of the estate sale or thrift store. So they sort of need to be rescued more, in my opinion. Talking to myself like always. I'm making a YouTube video. That's just, I guess, a little tip, because I started my upcycling journey with items that were laying around my garage. They were all damaged vintage items that I kept rescuing them from the estate sales, and I didn't even know how to sew or anything. I was just like, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, I'm gonna find a way to sort of revamp these. And this was before I even really knew much about upcycling. I just had this instinct to keep them and to keep getting them. I love how this is coming out already. The moons are my favorite. Moons, is that, did we put an S on the end of that? Anyway, one thing I do like to do when I get a piece like this, where I just really did like this as it was. If it wasn't so damaged, I would have probably sold it as a robe. I take the label, the vintage labels, I take pictures of them, and then I save them in a file on my iPad. So that way, if I'm ever like just wanting to do a search for something similar, or I just want to keep kind of an ongoing file of the vintage brands that I like and I think they're nice quality and I like the design, it never hurts to put them in the search on like eBay or Poshmark and see what pulls back, because sometimes pieces that I've already reworked once, I'll find them again and buy them again and do something else with them. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do this one while I'm at it. These little birds are like this. They just have a lot of detail, but this is not a fabric I like the feel of, so I don't want to work with that. But I do want to take these birds off, and I purchased this with the intention of reworking it. I figured it being a light color, it would be damaged in some way, but I guess in a way this is an item that there's really nothing wrong with it. I only want the birds. And the way I figure, I'm probably one of the few people that wanted that specific birds in the store, and there's just so many things in these thrift stores, and I feel like there's just plenty. There's plenty, so the more we take out and reuse, the better. I do try to come up with ways I can use the parts, like for instance this fabric. The more I think about it, I'm going to actually cut it into rectangular pieces after I cut out the birds. I'm going to put that in my bin called lining fabric, because it does very much remind me of a lining fabric, and well, I wouldn't want to use it for clothing. I could use it for lining a bag or something like that. And then the towel fabric, I'm giving myself permission just to throw that away. I have plenty of rags. I could cut it up into rags, but I have a surplus right now. Oh, there were stains. They're hard to see. Okay, so now I don't feel like I need to save all of it, but we'll save what we can. Just to give you an idea of how many I was able to get out of those, quite a few. And I won't bore you and do all the same. I'll do a few of these, then I'll show you a few different styles. There's the fabric I salvaged. Okay, so the next step is adding the adhesive backing. So these are the ones I'm going to work on, and most important thing is that I don't ruin the ironing pad, because I already ruined the last cover I had. I got this sticky adhesive all over it, so I'll try not to do that this time. This is the one I'm using. They all have varying instructions. This specific type is meant to be ironed on and then sewn in place, like around the edges. So I'm just roughly cutting out the paper backing to cover the patch, and then I'll go back and I'll cut it tighter after I've ironed it on. This is where I went wrong last time, so I'm actually going to use parchment paper to protect my surface, so any of that sticky residue doesn't stick to my ironing pad here. I was wondering why this wasn't working. See how it's not sticking, the paper's coming right back off? Then I realized I was doing it upside down, so this is the right way. Now I can tell it's on there because I'm trying to peel it back just to make sure it's actually on there. All right, now we're good. Now I decide how I want to cut them out, like how much border I want to leave, or do I want to leave no border at all? And so then I'm going to cut every single one out, and I'll come back when they're finished. Here's how the fluffy ones came out. I love the shagginess of these. And then the birds have a totally different look. See, the birds have that more like traditional sort of embroidered look. I love the details on these. Here's the vest I did. I added all of these little embellishments. The teddy bears are from a vintage sweatshirt, and you can decide how you want to finish the edges. I just sewed these on with my sewing machine, just kept it simple. When I was doing these, I got an idea of how to do something a little more artistic using fabric scraps. So I will definitely do a different video on that. And as you can just sort of see, your imagination is like, let your imagination run wild with this sort of thing, because there's so many different possibilities. I love this sort of upcycled fashion that's happening, and I'm really into it. And of course, so you can expect to see more of that from me here, along with a bunch of different stuff. So yeah, I'm excited. And then this is what the back looks like. The Pink Floyd is from a t-shirt. And yeah, and then this is a good example of something that could use a patch, because I thrifted it and it's so comfortable. I don't golf, so, and then I could cover up the Adidas if I wanted to too. So yes. So if you watched till the end, thank you so much for supporting my new channel, and I'll see you on the next project.